All right, we're going to figure out what kind of train wreck this is going to be.
Well, would you look at that?
Hey, guys. Let's go to a little podcast.
You got a little podcast? You put it on your internet? In case you have to drive over a river?
How are things going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nerd culture is
booming right now.
is booming
Super
right
boomy.
now.
Yeah, it's now popular culture. It's no longer nerd culture, right? But it's been that way for years now, since Marvel did their
I read
thing.
I read a thing the other day that was talking about nerd culture and these pictures, especially with Dune 2 being in theaters right now.
Yeah.
And it was actually talking about this quote unquote nerd culture, and it was like how nerd culture has essentially just become this.
Mainstream thing.
But it's kind of taken on this weird life of its own, where it's like this, like, oh, I just like sci-fi movies, or I go see the stuff that's based on books and whatever, and that now I'm just part of the nerd culture.
Right.
But it was talking about how in nerd culture, before it was the nerd group, the ones that had the nerds before and stuff like that, they were all subject matter experts. And that's what made them nerdy about it, is there was like this insane passion that almost took over your personality to be a fan of this thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And that there's a bunch of people now that are, you know, it's the whole like, well, I'm just a big nerd and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, but they are the most like uneducated, illiterate sons of bitches that you've ever run into.
Just wave top levels.
And so, well, it's not even that. So it's the whole like, so we'll get into this, but yeah, this is the Warhammered podcast. I'm Jazz. That's Jim. That's
Hey, guys.
Caitlin.
What's up?
We are also illiterate nerds who have this.
I've never read a page in my life.
Yeah, who have this little podcast on the internet where we like to discuss Warhammer and Warhammer-esque
Nerd
things
culture plus.
and
yeah.
nerd adjacent.
Nerd,
Yeah,
Jason. Nerd Siamese twin.
topics, but we only do it one way, and that is at
A wave top level.
either that or we make it all up like it's a
This
it's not
is
even
all 100%.
it's not even
Well,
educated wave top. It's just
like
fucking
roads.
wing it.
Like 40% of the time we're right.
It's high percentage.
Yeah, it's like Sex Panther.
90% of the time.
60% of the time it works every time. Yeah, it's a thing. And then so that's the Warhammer and Warhammer adjacent topics. The other part is the Erd part of the title. The Erd part, which has to do with a couple of things. And those couple of things are nothing more than the ingredients that go into the lovely libations that will slide over your lips and down the throat and warm you from the inside as it plants its delicious seed in your belly.
God damn.
Wow.
And that is talked about
like aliens.
on a non-wave top level by our very own Beer Jim right here on Beer Jim's Corner.
Hey, you guys.
I'm excited about this because every time we get into somebody else's beer, like
Yeah.
we do a lot of second pitch beer here.
Right.
And that is because, well, one, we have the luxury of the fact that you own second pitch.
Right, yeah.
So, but two, there's a lot that second pitch produces that is exclusive to the brew house.
Yeah.
So it's not like, even as somebody that keeps it on my bar and on handles and stuff here, there's a lot that you produce that's not available. That was a good one. That was
very good.
solid.
Do you like that guy?
Yeah, but there's a lot that gets produced there that's tap room only. Hey, we made it. It's only usually it lasts 2 fucking days.
Yeah.
We made a barrel and a half of it. Like this is, and so if you don't come get it, you can't. And so we have the luxury of being able to talk about those beers,
Right. Yeah.
on the show. But I'm always excited when we get into other craft beers.
right.
One it has to do with it's good to be a fan of something, and I'm all about loyalty. But you should get out there and try other
other
stuff,
beers,
do other stuff. And two, you do have such a respect for the industry
Yeah.
that anybody that's like kind of put themselves out there to actually try to make a beer,
Mhm.
like, and not, well, I shoot some things in a pot and then I have a really good label on it.
Right.
And that's good. Like people that are a legitimate brewery and you have a relationship with this brewery, but,
Yeah. And they're a fantastic brewery. They're a local brewery.
I like when we get into other beers because then it's not. I love you, but for your beers, you're kind of humble, so you don't want to get into the whole like.
Yeah.
This is what I think of this beer. You like do just the facts, and it's like this is how we made it, and this is why we made it, and this is what's in it, and
that's what we're doing.
And that's what we're fucking talking about it.
Yeah.
So I like when we do other beers because then we actually get into a little bit more of like, well, and what do you think of it? Because you didn't make it. It's a.
Yeah, I'm like, you can never talk, like when you make your own beer, it's like you're having your own child and you just, you can't really have a favorite, even though, everyone does.
Well, and it's, I found with craftspeople.
And it changes.
With craftspeople, like anybody that makes something out of raw good, when they go to talk about their own work, they only do one of two things. They either get very scientific about it because they do love what they make. Mm-hmm. So but they're trying not to be that whole like I make the best fucking beer there is, or I make the best chairs or whatever. Like they're not those, or everything they make according to them has disappointed them. Like everything is like it's not quite what I wanted.
So of the two groups of people, I hang around with the first group. The second group, the ones that like, hey, very technical. This is what we did. This is like I'm proud of what I made. The other group of like, oh, it's not exactly what we wanted, but I guess it's all right. It's like, shut up,
stop fishing,
fuck it, stop, fucking stop.
And they're fishing. What they want you to do is go like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This beer's awesome or whatever. I'm like, dude, you don't have to be cocky, but you can be confident that you know what the fuck you're doing.
I have no time for people like that.
Yeah.
They're hard to be around. But we're talking about a beer today. It is from Freetail Brewing Company. It is one of their has now become one of their flagship beers. I don't know if it's a flagship per se, but it's very available. It's very available right now, and it's called Imagine a World with beers. Imagine a world with beer sellers instead of 401ks.
Yeah, so this is their
which I don't understand. I'm sorry I don't understand what the fuck you're trying to tell me with this.
They're saying instead of spending money on retirement, you have a beer collection.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
It's insanity.
Yeah, it doesn't. I love you guys, but like that makes zero sense.
They just refer to it though as the 401k.
The 401k, which is one of a very, very. So this beer was made really only at times for kind of one of their like I don't want to call it a competition beer, but it was very. You would come around once a year. They would always submit it into the big competitions, GABF, World Beer Cup.
I know when Freetail came and told me about it, they literally described it as this was our competition beer.
Yeah,
and then decided to just.
And now they're deciding to make production. It. So it is their like, their Mona Lisa kind of thing. Like
it's their show off.
It's their show off.
This is the whole like
it's their dick flopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. You throw it out on the table. You're like, what do you have? Kind of very similar to us and our hometown lager. Like hometown lager is our show off beer.
That's
like
you want to know what we're about? Here you go.
Here you go. Yeah, this is what we can do. And they do a great job with it. It's a contemporary American Pilsner. So that's going to mean that it's not, an American Pilsner is in the realm of Budweiser, Coors, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this is going to be a contemporary version of it. They use Strata hops, which is going to be a little bit more of a juicy fruit flavor coming through on there. And they just do a really, really good job. I think they won.
I think they described it to me as a malted Pilsner, which I had to go look up.
I don't know what that is.
Which is so weird because, like, when I first tasted this beer when we brought it in, I didn't think of a Pilsner at all. I was thinking more of like a hazy IPA because it's so grapefruit forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's that hop varietal that he's talking about. That really kind of.
Yeah.
And so we've gotten to some people. We serve it here at the bar. And there's people that have come in and it's like, what do you drink? And it's like, well, I drink, Bud Heavy, and it's like, which I hate when people say that to me.
Bud Heavy?
Yeah. I'm like, just say Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like it's not Bud Light and Bud Heavy.
Yeah.
Because nobody says Miller Heavy.
I guess that's true. Shiner Heavy.
Yeah. Like they just
say Shiner. Yeah.
They just say, just Miller or Miller Light.
Yeah.
Like there's, I don't know. It's one of those
things.
It just bugs me.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic beer, and I think that all breweries should have a beer that they make that is their like. We show this off. Like this is us. Like this is our give a shit beer. Like this is everyone in the company. This is our give a shit.
And when people come in here and ask and they say essentially list any of the plethora of Pilsners that are out there that are major label.
Yeah,
I have 2 beers that are my go-to that I give them. Mm-hmm. And I always describe them as like, okay, this is the beer style that you like,
right?
But dialed up. This is what happens
flavor.
when This is what happens when a craftsman gets a hold of that.
Exactly.
Like this is
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I describe this one. And then the other one is Native Texan from Independence. Both of those they're just American Pilsners.
Great. Yep.
But they're well crafted. Like they are just
And I prefer this one over Native Texan because this one gives you
This
a
one has
little
more
bit
depth.
more, depth of character in there. The hop character is a significantly more pronounced in this. It's
the flavor's
more
thick.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a thickums.
It's a
Thickums.
damn boy.
Yeah. It lets you,
Yeah,
it slaps you in the mouth and says, "I'm a Pilsner, motherfucker."
It gets in there.
Yeah.
It gets in there. It's a three knuckler.
Yeah.
Like it's
I actually suggest this to people that say
that's all the way down to the that's down to the valley, isn't it?
That's intense.
I'd say
it's a
if
thumb.
people liked hazy IPAs or wanted to get into IPAs, that this would be a best start.
It is, yeah. It is.
What I like about this for
'Cause it's not like
Yeah.
a weedy pilsner.
it's not, and it's that's the other thing I like about this is when people are like, and I want something lighter, but whatever. And this has a sweetness characteristic to
Yeah.
it that it loses. That Pilsner does have a bitterness to it. Like there's a sharpness to Pilsners.
Yeah, that's usually from the yeast. Yeast is going to
And,
give you a little bit more of like a that kind of
There's a little bit of a bite. on
Yeah, a
it,
little bit of a bite.
which I enjoy when it's hot because
Yep.
it kind of like it's like almost like what spearmint does. Like I'm not a huge fan of the flavor of spearmint, but it does make your mouth feel cooler. Like
Yeah, okay.
you know what? Does it make
Yeah,
sense? It's
yeah.
not that I necessarily am like
the icy
spearmint.
hot. Yeah, icy
It's-
hot.
Yeah, right. But I think Pilsners when it's hot out.
Mhm.
Is what I like about Pilsners, that's like floating in a thing of ice. And it's like, which I know, like all the beer people out there, are like, beer should never be that cold. And I'm like, yeah, but I live in Texas. And when it's 117 fucking degrees,
Yeah.
my beer can stay that cold for the 4 seconds right
Yeah.
after I pull it out of the cooler.
And that's
then,
fine. Yeah, and then
the
it's going to
first
heat
sip.
up and it's going to be great.
but so that sharpness is, this one though, doesn't have that sharpness. It finishes more citrusy.
Yep.
And so I like turning people onto this one that as like a gateway beer
Very much so.
because you don't really need to know fuck all to drink that and go, but like Second Pitch's hometown, I do that to the people that come in and it's like, what do you typically drink? And they're like, I typically drink Shiner. And I'm like, hold on. And I get hometown.
And I've stated on this podcast before, I made hometown lager to be a Shiner killer.
Yeah.
Like I wanted it to take people like
but it's
I
the
knew.
same thing, right? Like, and I like Shiner Bock. I am not an anti-Shiner guy.
No, absolutely not.
But this is like, if you can see my cup, if you're watching this, you see the can of 401k and there's the cup. That is hometown lager. And I will not drink that till that's gone because that's a waste of beer.
Okay. I like that.
And I don't believe in alcohol abuse. So,
But yeah,
no beer left behind. But it's good. It is a very good beer. That's the only reason I'm not drinking it alongside these two is that I've been sampling it and stuff like that, and it's
really
solid.
good. Easy drinker.
It's also a far better can design than I've seen from them for a long time.
yeah, it's a beautiful can. I like what they're doing. I think they went out. They did it from if I can look at it, probably it's from Can Works up in Austin.
It looks printed. Yeah.
Well, just the design of it
Yeah,
is
the
just
design's nice.
is
They did a good job.
Freetail does this is gonna sound weird. My only real complaint about Freetail is I feel like their can design is too try hard.
it's super try hard. There's too
Like,
much going on.
There's
in
just
the can.
so much art going on, and it's almost hard to figure out what the fuck it
what are you
is.
doing?
Like
Yeah.
when you're looking out on a shelf and it's just like, what is that?
The only
it's-
can that should look like that from them is the October Fiesta.
Yeah, with the giant skeleton
Yeah.
party on the
Yeah,
front of it.
yeah.
Like, okay, I get it. Do it once
and
a year.
then the Buoy Bach one with like the it's a lot of art.
all
yeah.
that art. But this one, man, it just stands out.
It
and
does.
it's just
The black and the gold just stand out really well. They did a great job with it. It's a great beer. I enjoy it immensely. Like if I'm drinking Freetail, this is what I go to and drink. It's just a really good beer. Like I said, like it's their award winner. I think they've won like silver or a couple golds at GABF and World Beer Cup. So they're
so they're proud of it.
they're
And
very
to be
proud
honest
of it.
with
They
you,
should be.
if you have a beer at that level and you're not putting it into the market,
What are you
you're
doing?
doing it wrong.
Yeah, what are you
it's
doing?
like
What are we doing here?
It's well, we have this beer that's just award winning and phenomenal, but we don't ever let the public have it. It's like
Yeah, we
well,
only release in the tap
dumb.
room. It's like why? That's fucking why.
it's like put it in as many hands as possible.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So they have, and it's very good. But yeah, there's not a lot of tricks to it. It is.
Yeah,
It's a Pilsner with a tasty hop in it.
and that's also really the reason I like it too. It really follows my thoughts on how beer should be
don't get weird.
made.
Find a tradition and then
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do it well.
Just do it well, and they
Yeah.
did, and then they've done a great thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to see breweries in San Antonio make something at this caliber and continue to make it out into the public.
Yeah, because there's another brewery in Texas, and about once a week I have somebody that comes in and asks me about them, and I'm like, I'm not bringing that shit in.
Which one is it? Just say it. Who fucking cares?
Fuck it, Martin House.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing in chocolate lemonade stouts.
Yeah.
No.
Like no,
It's
like
fucking gross.
Yeah, I'm like it's some people really like it.
It's never gonna sell.
I feel really bad for Martin House's sales reps.
It's a gimmick.
Because they have every 2 weeks they have something brand new they got to put out in the market.
yeah, and
Like,
they're
it's
all
just-
fucking gross.
Yes,
like I'm
it's like-
sorry, but they're gross. They're not fun. It's not creative. There's a company. They're out of what is this? Oregon? Where's Voodoo from?
Oregon, Portland.
They put out some weird shit too. That I'm just like,
Yep.
nope, I'm not.
But they're the like Rogue or Voodoo.
Rogue. That's who I'm.
yeah.
Rogue makes
Rogue,
just
yeah.
weird ass beers.
But they have really good plain beers too.
Yeah, but
they
they-
don't get down here.
Yeah, because everybody's like, no, send the donut beer, and I'm like, no,
Like,
no.
Dead Guy Ale is fantastic.
So I've had Rogue Dead Guy. You know what's funny is you can get more of the Rogue normal shit out on the East Coast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like North Carolina, Virginia area, you can get just like the regular, like the Rogue Imperial Stout
yeah,
is actually
Shakespeare Stout, I think it's called.
it's just a good stout.
Yeah,
like it's
Shakespeare
it's
Stout is
solid.
amazing. Rogue Dead Guy Ale was one of the first craft beers made out there. Like it was right in the same pantheon.
Voodoo also makes
as-
some weird shit too.
Yeah.
Voodoo Brewing makes some
Yeah.
weird ass beers.
But yeah, Rogue like right there with Sierra Nevada and Lagunitas and Rogue Dead Guy Ale were like
Have
those
we-
three that
Have
really
we
made stuff.
discussed? You're a Space Wolves player.
Yes,
I don't
I
remember
am.
if we've discussed this or not. Have we discussed what we think
Muord tastes like
their beer is?
Muord.
Yeah.
Not that we.
No, we
think
haven't
it is,
discussed it,
no.
but I'm guaranteed it's like rubbing alcohol and like tree sap.
Not strength. Not strength.
Yeah, no, I bet it. No, I think that's what it tastes like.
But if you had to guess,
I would have to say it was like
so like if they were, so let's say you get utterly fucked and thrown into the 31st millennium, and now you have to live in the Warhammer universe.
great, and I'm finding my nearest space wolf and just holding on to
So-
him like a fucking
So life is
like a tree, like
so
just like
life
take me with you."
is horrible now, right? Like
I'm
it's-
just holding onto his leg like a fucking toddler.
Yeah. So life is now horrible because you exist in the 40K universe.
Yes, so everything's terrible.
Because out of
Got it.
all of the universes
yeah,
that people talk and be like, man, I'd love to be a hobbit. Nobody has ever said, you know what would be dope? I would love to live in the war. Nope.
Nope.
Nobody wants that.
nope. It's
Nobody
terrible.
wants that.
It's, yeah, so I would be holding onto a space wolf. And be like, take me with you.
Somehow
Take me back.
you end up on Fenris,
Okay, cool.
right?
In the Fang.
And they find you.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, little man,
Yeah.
tell us why we shouldn't just throw you back out in the cold.
And Jim's like, I make beer.
And you're like,
I make beer.
I make beer. And they're like, okay, well, you figure out the beer for a space wolf and you can stay, yeah? And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what
I would make.
What do you do? Like,
100%.
what-
Okay, great. Let's do this.
This is the theory. I want to know, what do you
I would
think
be
that
making
beer is?
That is a gruit. I guarantee that is a gruit. I bet there is a
It's a
ton.
what?
It's a gruit.
No, that's a Guardian of the Galaxy.
No, that's Groot. A gruit. A gruit.
I am Groot.
A gruit is a type of beer, but instead of using hops, you use different types of native fauna for it. Elderberries, spruce
ivy.
tips, no poison ivy, yeah.
Sumac.
Yeah, no,
Wild
like
sumac.
wormwood. You'll use heather tips, spruce tips,
And it's technically a beer?
it's technically a beer, yeah. But you can, and then you would make this like gruit, so it would have this intense medicinal kind of flavor, and you can just alcohol the shit out of it. And I think that's what they make,
Really?
I can
yeah.
see that.
100%, because it's
Because
a very
it is canon
yeah.
that they sit around and they travel with kegs of whatever.
And try to get as drunk as possible.
Well, they call it Mjord.
Muord, yeah,
And it's because everything's based on Viking except for they shift everything by like one letter.
yeah.
So it's like, so instead of
It's not Mjolnir, it's Hornir.
yeah, and instead of being on Fenrir, they're on
Yeah.
Fenris.
Fenris.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's so they
Yeah,
just
we get it.
they
We
change
got
a
it.
letter.
Thank
It's
you.
subtle.
Yeah, like
So
the
I'm
being
curious.
subtle.
So obviously, Mjord is a play on mead,
Yes,
which is a honey wine.
yes,
But based on the canon,
yeah. You can't get honey that high. You can't make
yeah.
it.
So based on canon and even the animations and drawings they've done on it,
It's
when
like
they have it
black.
in a tankard, it also has a head on it. Well, like when they first pour it, it like froths out and then settles.
Yeah.
It is fucking dark.
It's dark.
But
So
it's drawn like a
beer.
It's drawn or animated like a beer.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm curious. Like
So
as
it
a
would
beer
be,
maker,
we would be making, I would use a lot of like 2-row, if we were to make Muir right now, like
Yeah.
you're just like, Jim, gun to your head, make Muir. I would do a ton of 2-row. I would do dark, unrefined sugar. So like a treacle or something like that, and then just use a shit ton of that.
and if you don't know what treacle is, it's also like molasses. Which is not overly sweet, but the sugar content is
It's
insanely
stupid.
high.
Yeah, so you would be using that would be 100% it. You would have to use some weird ass yeast. I assume that they only have in the 41st millennium that can like eat through all this sugar because no one else can do it. And then I would like go and like forage what's in Fenris and figure out like spruce tips, this kind of stuff, bog myrtle, that kind of thing, and create a like I grew it with it, and that's what you do.
I grew up with it too.
God damn it.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that's gross.
So yeah, that's what I would do. And then the Space Wolves would they'll try it and they'll drink it for a second and they would either say good job or chop off my head. And both ways, I would be pretty happy with it.
Because it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's either cool, I've secured my place, or I don't have to worry about it
not
anymore.
my problem anymore.
Yeah.
It's like being a bomb
Bomb tech?
a bomb
Yeah,
tech.
it's
like
either I've solved it or it's no longer my problem.
Yeah. And that's what I hope it was. It'd be like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted, or all right, you can stay. You can stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you write this down? No. Better should have done that.
Hope your memory's all right.
Speaking of 40K,
Yeah.
I decided to start a new army
I know.
For reasons.
for reasons.
Do
So
we,
can we? Yeah, do it.
do we
Yeah.
tell
Do
the
we
public?
dare?
Tell the public.
Okay,
yeah, we're
so,
doing because I am doing this. I have been fighting for this.
We're gonna make it
for
happen.
months. I
gonna
have
make
been-
it happen.
I have been fighting for this for months.
So-
I am so excited that this actually is coming to
so
fruition.
there's some behind
it's
the
the greatest
scenes
thing
stuff
ever.
that's been going
Listen to
on.
what he's about to say. I'm going to talk over him no longer anymore.
Yeah.
Jazz, take it away.
Okay, so here on Warhammered, we make this show, and we've got an okay following out there. There's a couple of 7 of you guys that actually watch/listen to this show, and there's some fans of the show and friends of ours that are also local that are all 40K players, and we floated this idea out there of, hey, let's make some more media content,
Right.
but let's do a pretty decent sized player base escalation league based on a crusade.
So nice.
And so that crusade, the way this is going to work is everybody starting out has to start out with the combat patrol version of their army.
Yep.
So because every army in the 40K universe, except for knights, GW put out a box called the combat patrol, and they've all been kind of leveled to each other,
Right.
but they are fixed lists. So you can't. It's not a point value base. It is literally it's a fixed roster that's in that box, and you can't adjust from the roster. And they come with special rules and all that kind of stuff to do the combat patrol. So what we are going to do is that we're going to have this roster. We are writing a original narrative of the reason that these guys are all out on this crusade to accomplish this thing, which I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I'm pretty excited about it because it kind of
gonna be good.
It
Yeah.
falls into one of my favorite structures of storytelling, which is I think super dope. And we're going to film the whole thing. We're going to film a good portion of it. I think we're at like 9 or 10 people in this campaign.
Yeah.
There's a
Which
lot
is
of
the which the armies are going all different directions. It's really nice.
And
We're really excited about
And the
it.
reason that I say that we're going to film a good chunk of it is honestly, none of us have the time to record every single game at every single level of this
Yeah.
crusade for however long it takes to get through this crusade.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Because that's at least 5 matches if everybody plays one game per section with the number of players that we have.
Yeah.
And I do not have the time
Yeah,
to
there's gonna
edit
be-
that much content.
It's gonna be like, have you ever been to like a collegiate wrestling tournament? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how there's like center mat? There's
Yeah.
a bunch of different things, but center mat is like,
Yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
pays attention
Yeah.
to that one.
You need to think more like a music festival where it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's the main stage and then there's the other guys that
Yeah.
get to play too.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's going to be the same people every week. But the way an escalation week escalation league, escalation game, however you want to call it, works is everybody's starting out with the combat patrol. And the rules in Crusade is that as you go and you do cool shit in the game, you get a thing called RP, requisition points. And you get to use those requisition points to request additional assets for your army. And those come in as points. And so the goal for this is that at the end of it, you should see the armies grow, the story grows, everybody's playing different armies as they're chasing different things. And at the end of it, it should be a big, at least 2,000 points for every army. So you're seeing full-size 40K games being played by your favorite idiots here at Warhammered.
Yep.
And our friends that agreed to go do this stupid journey with us.
I don't know why they agreed. They're going to hate us by the end of this.
Yeah,
gonna be terrible.
it's way too much time.
But it's the other nice thing about this is, for those who don't know, Jas is a classically trained cinematographer.
Oh, God, that sounds so gross when you say
Yeah, I know, doesn't it?
And
That's why I said
producer.
it. And producer.
And
And
director.
writer. And
And
director.
writer.
He's a slashy.
Do you want me to say it?
Okay.
I am technically an award-winning director.
He is.
Ooh.
He's won an award.
I have
Good.
actually had films win
So,
awards.
but the point of that is, like, we have like actually really, really, really good audio visual equipment, and
It is-
cameras
it's-
and things, and we can
Yep.
actually
And on
make
top
this
of
thing
that-
worth a damn.
On top of that, most of the people that agreed to be part of this crusade are amazing hobbyists. Like,
Yeah,
these
great
guys,
artists.
they can fucking paint and
Thank
they can
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really cool. So Caitlin, speaking of 40K and her new army that she's very excited about,
So excited.
she has gone the opposite direction of almost everything she is attracted to in wargaming.
Yeah.
Which
which
is
is
funny.
strange.
So like,
But she
in
she
Legions
saw the
Imperialis-
first box and was like, "Holy fuck!" And then she got like the first 2 models painted, and then like a day later she was done. Like
Yeah.
painted a whole
So
army.
yeah, you are
Yeah.
what? Who are you?
the Dangles.
The dirty dangles.
dirty Dangles.
The Dark Angels.
The Dark Angels, which is funny because
Are you straight Dark Angels? Or are you going to be a successor?
I don't know yet. I don't know because like my Terminators, I don't like the bone armor.
Whoa,
right?
hold on.
Oh, sorry.
But you're no spoilers.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no spoilers.
These are crusade
Sorry.
spoilers. This is all
Oh,
part of the story.
sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
No, but it was funny because like everything else I play is like chaos based. So like I play Sons of Horus, right? Play Corpse Grinder Cult. I have a Chaos Space Marine army that I've been struggling to paint
Yeah,
because
do
it's
you?
just so
Do
much.
you?
Your
So I
your
have Space
first
Marine-
your
Chaos Space
first
Marine.
ever army was Slaneshi
Slanesh.
demons.
Yeah. So everything I've
that-
played is so chaos aligned. And then we were doing this crusade and we were looking at the list and it turned out a lot of people are playing Chaos and Xenos. And we were like,
Great.
well,
Yeah.
shit, we can't have Beer Jim be the only one that's playing Space Wolves. Like we need
You
to
can have other people just talk. I'm holding down the
only
Imperium.
Imperium.
I'm
The only
holding down the Imperium.
And so I was like, well, I already have a lion because I wanted to paint the Primarchs anyway.
Great,
so
yeah.
I snagged him up as soon as he came out. And I was like, these new models are so attractive though. Like they're getting
good looking.
so many good sculpts right now.
Yeah, the Dark
They're
Angels.
really
You can
good
definitely tell that they're kind of a chosen child of
Yeah.
GW.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
which
it's
makes
also-
sense, right?
it's
They're
British.
Arthurian based.
They're yeah.
The Dark Angels are based on the Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
And it's the Brits going like,
These are our
Space
favorite.
King Arthur.
Yeah. I'm in.
Fucking
I'm
gay.
fucking in.
And so they are gorgeous models. And what
And they
really
look
got
great.
you
You're doing a great
was
job
they
with
had
them, too.
released that Deathwing Assault box.
The Deathwing Assault box got me.
Yeah, and it was all those beautiful
the
new Terminator
Terminators.
Knights
Yep.
with the
Yep.
shields
With
and the
the
power
shields
swords
and
and everything. And
That are all
So it's
essentially
pretty dope.
showcase level models because they all have individual bases and cool little things.
Yep.
And it was like the Leviathan box with the Space Marines where they had like the cool customized bases is how they went into the Deathwing Assault box.
yeah,
Cool.
and then right behind that, the official Dark Angels Combat Patrol dropped.
Mhm.
So she
And
was
you have a
able to
new
get all of-
codex too.
Well, the Codex
Brand new
came
codex.
in the Deathwing Assault
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
Plus
have
the
a,
cards.
and that's always fun when you get the brand new rules, the new
Yeah.
codex.
Which is-
Everything's looking nice.
Everything's
Yeah.
coming up.
So
dangles.
I had the new Codex, and anyone that got the Assault box before they got their Combat Patrol is what they knew was coming out in the Combat Patrol because it was already in the new Codex if you got that box.
Okay.
So we were at home and we were looking through the Combat Patrol, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do Dark Angels. Like, what's the Combat Patrol? And it was so simple. It was like 10 Intercessors, 5 Hellblasters, 3 Deathwing Knights, and then 1 named dude.
Yeah, that's it.
So
yeah.
she had everything
Except
between
the
the
named
extra
dude.
Space Marines that I had and what she already had from her Deathwing Assault box, except for the named guy.
and you have and you can have you have stuff to add on.
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
So I got the combat patrol, so now I have that named guy, Zachariel or something.
Zach.
Yeah.
Zach.
And it works really well
Zack
for the
attack.
crusade too, because for people who know, Space Wolves and Dark Angels do not get along.
Oh, they're best friends.
Do not get along.
Best
they hate
friends.
each other.
No.
So them fighting
Cuddle
each
buddies.
other on the thing makes a lot of sense.
It's
I'm
not a
also-
fight, dude. It's a struggle snuggle.
I'm also a big fan of.
I hate you, but I love you. Why do you hate so good?
I think what attracted
I
me
can't quit you.
to the Dark Angels is they're little Ewoks in pajamas.
Yeah.
The Watchers.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
little.
Well, so she got
Well, they're not Ewoks. What's that Star Wars thing where they're like
The Ewoks. Oh, Jawas.
Jawas? They got
so
Jawas.
she started asking me about like the lore of the Dark Angels, and she was like, "What's their deal?" And I was like,
We don't know.
They're from a planet whose core itself is actually infested by the warp. They grew up with monsters that
Yeah.
are
they just
warp
fought.
driven. They worshipped these little dudes in robes that are called Watchers in the Dark.
They're
And if
so
you went too
cute.
deep in the forest, they would talk to you and tell you secrets about yourself that you didn't know and your friends and shit like that. And now their Primarch came back from sleeping
Yeah.
and hangs out with his Watchers, and they're just teleporting him all over the fucking galaxy.
Yeah.
'cause
Like a
they
personal
can.
Uber.
And I'm like, so it's he's supposedly extremely loyal, but is also so fucking cocky that he never really recognized Imperial rule.
Yeah.
He wears that little crown.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but he wears that little crown.
yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
Is it weird that the sculpt that they made for Lionel Johnson that came out, he looks like the guy that plays
he's Tyrion Lannister.
Tyrion Lannister.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's twin Lannister.
Tyrion.
Tyrion.
And Tyrion's the little guy.
Who's Papa Lannister?
Tywin.
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 Yeah.
The sculpt
Looks
looks
just like
Yeah.
Tywin
He
Lannister.
does look like
much
Tywin Lannister.
Yeah. All I know is that when
Just
you
when he's just gutting a stag.
if you
right there yelling
when
at
you
his
build
son.
that model, if you do it with anything other than the hood, in my opinion, you're wrong.
I'm gonna magnetize the heads and have all the
'Cause
head options.
That's the correct way to do it.
Yeah, that's badass.
I like
I
this.
have them. Why would I glue the head down if I have all the options of the heads in the box?
No, you're right.
So, but
But I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun because I've never played that. And then we've
we've got a good mix of factions.
and
too,
then
which
we
is
got
awesome.
orcs. You are doing.
Gene Stealer cults. I'm starting a
Yep.
brand new army to do this. So
You had
starting
everything
it.
else.
I
You had
have-
it all.
yeah.
Let's
so,
make that clarification. We made a deal. So I hate painting terrain.
yeah.
I prefer to paint models. So I am painting Jazz's combat patrol of his horde army of Gene Stealer cult so he can paint all of the terrain.
Yep. And I'm helping build.
And they're,
terrain.
I think I got fucked.
Cyberpunk
Yes, you did.
Technicolor kind of
Yeah,
feel.
I
Tron.
don't want to give too many spoilers, so when they hit the cameras, it's all good because we're gonna do army highlights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. I'm some Space Wolves. We have orcs. We have Gene Stealer cult. We have a
full Tyranid player that's
Custodes.
coming in. There's a Custodes player.
Death Watch.
There's a Death Watch player. And the Imperium's actually pretty well represented. There's Dangle, Space Wolves, Death Watch, Custodes.
Now Chaos Demons.
Chaos Demons are coming in. GSC's coming in. Orcs are coming in. Tyranids are coming in. So that's 8 armies right there.
Yeah.
Just for this crusade.
Yeah.
Which
I
it's
would-
pretty cool.
It's
But
a
what
good
I
spread.
really like about it is that you can envision in the lore all these armies actually fighting each other. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Lore wise. Because it always gets hard when it's like, oh, I'm an Imperial Fist and you're a Blood Angel. And it's like they would not fight.
No.
You know? Or like, oh, I'm an Imperial Fist and you're a Black Templar. It's
What's
like they
super
would
dope is that
like they would
Imperial
talk.
fisting.
like she has the option actually with the Dark Angels and stuff because there's the whole Fallen path. They're not actually chaos. They just don't recognize the power of the Imperium anymore.
Yep.
So they're not technically loyalists, but they're not chaos fallen.
Yeah.
And they're just known
then
as
you can
the
also
fallen.
get those guys now too.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the
Yeah, you can add those in.
the codex a little bit more to see if there's any like special keywords if you take that kind of direction.
Not really. I think you might end up giving up the ability to run the lion.
Yeah. But the cool thing, so the Dark Angels Combat Patrol is the first new combat patrol since 10th edition
That was made, yes, since 10. That's specifically made for the new point
for
structure.
the new point structure. What's interesting though is I pulled out my instructions for like the building and it literally tells you in there what 3 weapons is combat patrol specific and then the other 2 don't say combat patrol. So like if you were going to use that box for combat patrol, it says you can choose from these 3 weapons.
Yeah.
And if you use anything else, it's not legal for combat
Then it's
patrol.
not legal for combat patrol.
They did the same thing with the Invictus Warsuit.
Yeah,
I had to
it's
do
super cool.
You couldn't use the melter. You had to do the
Right,
the
but
autogun.
in her build directions,
That's
it
good.
says
It's
like there's
highlighted.
it's highlighted and says combat patrol. So you're not sitting there going like, Well, God damn it, which one of these is that weapon? Like it says, it's this one. Just build this one.
Just this one.
So
Or
it was pretty
magnetize
cool.
your arms and do all three.
It was pretty cool. So
No, I'm really excited about it. I've been pushing for this thing for a while. We've got a beautiful studio here that we can make some really, really cool stuff, and it's
and I think we're gonna tell a cooler story that won't end with a butter knife and a ball of yarn.
Fucking right.
that's
I'm
true.
still fucking salty
You're
about
still
it,
mad
man.
about
I'm
it, huh?
still mad.
Still mad
Should
about
we
it.
write a letter?
I'm still mad. A
Are we-
strongly worded letter to my
To Dan
congressman.
Abnett?
Who can do calligraphy?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'll get the scroll.
Yeah, we
Get
get
it something with a
scroll,
feather.
parchment, and a calligraphy, and Dan's gonna like be like I don't know. He lives in like Nottinghamshire, Hammer,
He
Feinstein.
probably
I
lives
don't
in
know.
Scotland, to be honest.
Dan?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
London,
He will make,
maybe.
as far as I'm concerned, all English towns seem like these weird, like fairy places.
Yeah, like,
Devonshire, Hampshire.
I live in Stroke-on-Tint.
Stroke on a mountain next to the king's
What?
Next to the king's crossed arms.
Yeah, everything is just a. I live on that hill. Which hill? The hill with the naughty tree. What's your town called? Naughty
Not
Tree
a
Hill.
tree hill.
It's like, okay.
Well, okay.
Right next to
Well,
the
if
wolf's
you-
head and the sheep's stomach.
I mean, you had illiterate people naming towns, so
Yeah. So much like nerd culture. It was such a good article. I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Please do. But yeah, so it's gonna be great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're very, very
So
excited. And the people we have playing in it are pretty fucking great.
Are legit.
And in typical Warhammered fashion, yes, this crusade will be played with drinks on the table.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
I think
we'll
we
get-
have one person that will not be partaking in drinks, but they are on pain medication. So
Oh, take it easy.
That's
Yeah.
so
like-
I was told they're not going to drink at the beginning, just until
their pain meds
Is it
until they're
slow-mo?
off
done.
yeah, just until they are off the pain meds.
She got a rotator cuff surgery.
She's
She's fine.
non-invasive.
But
It's
It's outpatient.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I have goals with the story and where I'd like the story to go. We will have a Watcher in the Dark.
What?
There is a person that is a part of this crusade that is going to operate as the Watcher in the Dark. And they will be, I think the title they actually gave them is that since they are not playing an army on the table, they are here from the Officio Administratum.
Nice.
And they are here to help administer and maintain the campaign. Because in the current crusade rules, you can actually have a position known as the Game Master. And they can do things like literally round 2 of the mission you're on, he can go stop play. This rule is now in effect. And it can be like an environmental change or something else shows up
Yeah.
fun.
or
That's
whatever.
gonna be a
And
lot of
so it
fun.
can literally throw this chaos in. So keep in mind, what we are producing is not a battle report. So if you want to watch this for us because you're like, this will be a good way to learn how to play 40K.
Nope.
No, it fucking won't.
No, it won't. It's a wave top level.
we are going to get half the rules wrong, and
Yep.
we're going to have to edit out a lot of us
And-
going through codex books.
And
Like,
we are
no, that's not it. No,
we are
that's not
playing at in Crusade rules, which has alternate rules that you can add in, fluctuations. Rules will change as you play because you get to earn more stuff.
And that's the other thing I
so,
really
yeah.
enjoy with just going on the crusade rules is that you if somebody like your unit dies, you can bring them back based on what you roll and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you can also give them marks on their armor, so you as an artist, as a
Absolutely.
painter,
You can
still
they can get scarred. People can just like lose an eye. Like
yeah,
you're-
so it's like all of a sudden,
it's
I
pretty
need
great.
to take this guy home because he lost his arm, and I need to cut off that arm and put a new bionic on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. It's going to be pretty great. There's also, because of the interactions between certain armies, it'll make for some interesting storytelling on like who can fight who won't fight other armies and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Can you make alliances?
We will see. That is we will have to consult the Watcher in the Dark.
There's one terrain build that you're doing right now that I'm so excited to play on.
I am very excited about it as well. It's just I wish it would stop stabbing me.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm not going to do it
The
because
terrain is fighting me back.
I think that is going to be one of the showpieces battles that we're
So
gonna
I
do.
have I need to talk to my wife after the show because there's another piece of terrain that I want to do that mirrors that.
Oh,
And
oh,
but I think she's going to tell me like there's no fucking way. You already have enough that you need to get done.
Well, you have 2 weeks, so
I have 2 weeks to get the first tables done.
yeah.
I can get there for that.
well, how many tables we got there right now? You got my stuff,
3.
which is pretty good. Yeah, 3.
Three
we got
already.
3 weeks.
3 already.
So we got 3 weeks.
No,
You got to paint a table a week.
No.
Is it
we don't have 3 weeks. I don't have 3 weeks worth of play.
Yeah, we do.
No, because not everybody's going to fight in the same spot. Yeah,
Okay. I need
exactly.
to start building faster, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't be doing this whole
We're
like I
gonna
built you
have,
2 trees. That's not going to work. Like
We're
you got
gonna
to.
have
yeah.
hobby nights in the
Yeah,
house.
we're going to
if
start
you
doing
wanna
hobby
come over.
parties.
Yeah,
at the,
I know.
At the
And I
house.
need to just It's nice because Samantha wants to watch Below Deck now.
Love that show.
I know. So that's why I turned to
that
you.
show.
It's,
Jasmine used to watch it with me too.
Yeah. So
Jasmine
for those of you
knows.
that don't know what Below Deck is, it is this show about fucking.
how terrible it is to be on a yacht.
How
people that-
working on a yacht.
Yeah, it's about the staff that work rental yachts, like those people that are like, I rented a yacht for 4 days.
Because apparently people who rent yachts have zero fun on them and are terrible.
Yeah,
so
they're awful people.
I have. Jim and I were talking about this off camera when you were telling me about that she was watching that. And I was like, yeah, I watched that a couple years ago with Caitlin. What I have come to the conclusion is people that rent yachts are horrible fucking people.
Yeah.
Well, because they're not real rich people.
No,
They're just like
They're fake
plain
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they think they got to act
And
like this.
and then because there's a couple of episodes every once in a while where the owners of the yacht will show up to like check on the boat, or they're actually taking it to like because like
Barbados
oh
or some
no, we
fuck-off
have
place.
tickets for the Grand Prix in Monaco, so we want to take our boat because everybody parks their boats outside of Monaco for the GP.
Right.
And it's like, and we're not renting it for that week. Like we're going to take our boat and go sit in the harbor and watch the race. And those people show up and are all like
Sucks to be them, huh?
super nice to the staff and super nice to the captain and shit. And
They're
it's
like,
like- he's
so
like,
we're
I
doing
like-
SpaghettiOs for dinner, right?
yeah, like
Like I don't care what the money like I really just would love a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah,
just
they're just like,
do
I
a little
don't care.
bolognese and the
Yeah.
chef's just like, okay.
yeah. And then, but the
Okay.
people that rent it are like, my deviled egg wasn't 37 degrees. It was 39. And it was like, you're a horrible person.
Yeah, you
like,
suck. Yeah.
So yeah, I've come to the determination that anybody that rents a yacht,
yeah.
horrible person.
Yeah. So let's rent a yacht.
I think
own a
we're more
yacht.
like pontoon people.
Yeah. I would say just rent a yacht, just let's come up there just like, what are you doing here?
right.
Just wearing a bunch of second pitch tank tops.
we're like
I brought summer and lightning.
no, what's those airboats that are in like Louisiana on the bayou?
The fan boat?
The fan boat.
We're
I think
fan
we're
boat
more
people.
we're pontoon people. We're like
Yeah.
go to a lake, rent a pontoon,
trucking
kind
like
of like a party boat,
Yeah, no,
like a party barge.
That's us.
One of those flat deck things with the sun over the
Oh my
sun
god,
thing over the top. of it.
I have a story about that.
We should rent that just so I can throw your child off of it.
Which one?
Both,
Ben.
all of them.
Yeah, of course. Okay,
All of
cool.
them.
You would love
I'm
that.
not gonna throw the girls.
Well, no, you take the
Okay, I
arms
take that back.
and
I would throw the girls.
legs.
Yeah.
You take arms and legs,
I'll
and you go.
start with Ben, and I
Yeah.
just grab him by the life vest, that handle that's
He
on the back,
loves doing that.
and then just yeet, and it just.
Yeah, he loves that. He loves
That's
being
when I will
thrown.
interact with children.
Yeah. Just
If you're
throwing
telling
them
me I can
over
just
and over.
yeet children into a lake, all day.
Yeah, it's like
It's fun for the whole family.
It is. It's great. Oh my god, that would be fun as hell. Actually, thinking about that, that'd be great. Yeah, the girls started gymnastics.
I'll yeet them into a lake too. I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah.
Or I'll show up to gymnastics and just throw them into that foam pit.
Oh yeah,
Do they have one of those pits full of the
yeah.
foam blocks?
Kate and Charlie. Apparently, we have wild children. Like
Yeah.
our children are like feral.
Yeah.
compared to other kids, and I did not know that. And now that they've gone out into public, I'm just kind of like, oh wow, like they
For the
just
last
do
time we
not
all went
listen
and got
to
burgers
anybody.
together, where both families went,
Yeah,
and I was like,
I
"Do
didn't
you
see your
let them
kids.
out? Like, this is like."
It's like the first time
they're
I saw
like,
them outside.
Holy shit! Socialize your children. This is
Yeah, that's what we
insane.
tried. It's like raising a dog. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just take your kids to the
Take it to the dog,
dog
park.
park.
Yeah, just let them talk.
Speaking of unsocialized children, we all saw Dune 2.
I was wondering
Paul
where that was
Atreides.
going.
Tell me that's not an
That's-
unsocialized
First of all,
child.
he is Paul Madeep Atreides,
Duke of Arrakis.
Duke.
of Arrakis.
Yeah. What's the thing? Lisa Angali.
Lisa Nalgaib.
Lisa Angali. She's obviously Lisa Angali. There was a lot of when he was becoming we're spoiler alerts.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Dune 2. If you
Spoiler
haven't gone to
alerts.
see it
Spoiler,
or haven't read
spoiler.
the books,
Stop.
just scroll away.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna
talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it. But
how much Logar and the Emperor is with Paul Atreides and
Stilgar? Yeah,
It's the
Stilgar.
exact same.
Stilgar is like he's the one.
He's the one.
It's like
He's
I'm
like,
not. This is all. This
Of
is all
course he
Benny-
says he's not
this
the
is all
one.
Benny Gesserit fucking programming or whatever. He's like he's too humble to admit that he is the Muad'Dib.
And I think Logar had the exact same line with the Emperor, like 100%. Like, of course he says he's not a god. What god would claim he's a god?
Yeah. And first off, what did you think of the film?
Loved it. Beautiful, beautiful art.
Yeah. It's shot phenomenally well.
Shot phenomenally. It looks great. Everything about it is just beautiful. The director, what's his last name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis
Villeneuve.
but it's spelled Dennis.
But he's French.
Okay,
It's
Denis Villeneuve. He is a genius. Great eye.
He's brilliant.
Everything's
And
beautiful.
all of his films are brilliant.
Yeah,
like
and everything
he's a
he
hell
does,
of a director.
He
I
fucking
also
nailed it
thoroughly
out of the
like
park.
that he has pissed Hollywood off because of what he did with Dune for the budget.
Really?
Because his budget is like half of what they spend on like all of these other big
Marvel
CG
movies
Marvel
and stuff.
movies and shit.
Because it's all practical effects.
Well, but the Imperial ship was not. All of that space effect was not.
Yeah, I
the
guess that's
sandworms are not.
Yeah.
Like all of that's. There's a ton of CG in that movie. Yes, it is cheap just to go film in the desert.
Yeah.
Because one, you don't have to rent the desert.
Those costumes aren't cheap though.
But
Yeah.
he's
Very intricate.
so low on budget and the spectacle he made
Yeah. I mean,
everybody's like, okay, there's no reason that your film should ever have anything fucked up in it CG wise when for half of what your budget is, he
Yeah.
made those sandworms look good and all that shit.
And it's also like when he was on the Harkonnen planet, what is it called? Geedy Prime.
Yep.
It was like the black and white was there, so like
Yep.
it was beautiful.
Because they have a black sun.
They have a black sun, which
That's
was
why.
They have a black sun, so you see a different wavelength of light.
I know, he was so cool.
So the way Denny actually shot that, they actually talked about how he shot that and got
really?
that to
Okay.
look black and white.
Yeah.
Is they filtered the camera. So they filtered. There's a lens on the front of there's a filter on the front of the lens, and it was a hard filter. And what it does is it filtered out all of the light source that would come from a white light source, like a yellow sun.
Really?
So it filters all that out so that you were only capturing the light that would be seen via a black sun.
That's beautiful.
So he didn't shoot it in black and white. He shot it by filtering out the light that would be provided by a white sun.
and it was amazing. He made old pouty lips, Elvis Presley, pouty lips McGee.
Yeah, he's terrifying in that film.
Yeah, he made him terrifying, which I like. If you've ever seen that guy like in real life, you're like, you are the least threatening person I've ever seen in my entire
It's
life.
the shaved eyebrows and the shaved head.
You know, they didn't
and then in
shave
that-
any of that. That is a single prosthetic.
Really?
That single prosthetic comes down just past his eyebrows. And he said it was less than a 2 mil tolerance to be able to do that. And so it's one skin cap that does
Wow.
all of that.
That's
awesome.
3 hours in
Good
the makeup chair to do
application.
that.
Well, I'm like, it's wonderful, but they made him look scary, which he is like the least scary person in real life I've ever seen in my
And I
entire life.
absolutely love how cocky he is. And that he was supposed to be that he's also this one that they put all this effort into, like who gets to sleep with who, when do you get to have a son, like all this kind of stuff, and did it and then produced him, and he was supposed to be like another chosen one.
Yeah, one of the other options. It's
And,
like Paul is an option and he's an
And so,
option.
and they prop him up to do all that until he has to actually stand against the real thing, and then he just gets his ass kicked.
yeah, it
But
just gets
but I like how he handles it. I like that they really show just how twisted the Harkonnens are,
Yeah.
and where they kind of get their kicks. But on Getty Prime, it was beautiful because if you notice, there's shots where the shot is in full color because they're inside a hallway with normal lighting.
Yeah.
And then they walk into the sun and it instantly clicks over into that black and white landscape. Like it's
So
just
cool.
it's so beautifully shot. Even if you go like there's problems with the story, first off,
whatever.
Get
Fuck
over
you.
it.
Okay.
Read a book. I don't care.
and don't read the books. These actually do a fantastic
Yeah, they
job.
do. But
And
if
all
you
of the
get really
major-
pissed off about, if you get pissed off that it doesn't follow the book all the way, then just stick with the books.
Yeah.
Because film is going to be different. It's a different medium than books, and
but
an artist is allowed to do
major-
whatever he wants.
Every major theme
yeah.
It's
that
covered.
no, every major theme that was in Dune
That needs
is
to be
in
talked
these
about.
movies.
Like we were talking about it. We don't see a navigator in that because you don't need to.
You don't need it. We understand that spice is necessary for travel.
We don't need to see a navigator.
We don't need
do
to
that.
see the navigator
Or the
we
useless dinner party.
Don't. We don't need to see they cut out all the political meetings and stuff.
Yep.
Those things actually don't further the plot.
Yeah.
And so, but all the major themes are there. This whole idea of population manipulation and false messiahs, and that how religion can become
A weapon, yeah.
it become weaponized and opium to the masses. That this is what happens when all wealth can literally turn into pure political control. All of those themes that Frank Herbert tried to get across in his book
Yeah.
are in these films, and they're shot and delivered beautifully.
Yeah, correctly.
And it's not an adaptation of the books. I view it as like an abridged version of the book.
Yeah, okay. I
It's
agree with
very accurate, but they cut out
cut
everything
out the
that
fat.
didn't need to be there.
Yep.
Not that it doesn't make for a great book. It does, but it makes for a shit movie.
Right.
Like you can't do scene for scene from those books. You
Except
can't
for,
do
you
it.
know,
books are
unless you have
heavy.
Sting
They're heavy.
in it.
The books are heavy.
They're very heavy.
Yeah, but even yeah. First off, I hate that director. This is the same guy that did Eraserhead and Twin Peaks, and
Yeah.
God, I hate.
Really?
I
You hate
his
John Lynch?
work.
Or
Yeah, I'm not a Lynch fan.
really?
I can't stand his work.
Really? Okay, cool.
Can I just talk about
Good to
the
know.
cast that
Absolutely.
they put in?
You can talk whatever you
Dune?
want.
Okay.
I mean, you got the microphone. You
Yeah.
fucking do it.
I don't know.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay. No, I don't know if you guys noticed. So when we watched Dune, it happens in the first movie too, in the second movie, but you have to really be paying attention. And for some people, it might take a second watch through. But these subtle acting cues with faces and body posture that these actors put on in the movie, like Rebecca Ferguson as Jessica,
Wonderful.
like watching her and her face and how she manipulates her body to kind of like show what emotion she's thinking without even having like that dialogue being told to you is
I think-
amazing.
I think actually probably the most masterful thing that Rebecca Ferguson in particular, Lady Jessica, for those of you that are better at the characters than the actors, like me, I'm way better at being able to say a character over an actor.
I know the actors too.
Well, if they're a good actor,
But
they become a character.
Rebecca,
but yeah.
well, yeah, Rebecca Ferguson in these films though, the biggest thing that you see, and it's so subtle and it happens over time, is the shift in her knowing that this is Bene Gesserit manipulation, and then you can watch her mental deterioration as she starts to believe
Believe her own shit.
the shit that she helped make. And it's like you are literally buying in to your own lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, but also if you have a fetus inside of you that's talking to you, I mean, like that's
right,
gonna,
but that's the thing is that at that point they have now it's also evidence that the Bene Gesserit fucked around with powers beyond their control, and they got it to the point of like, hey, we have this breakover, and it's like, yep.
But you don't know what's happening at that breakover.
Yeah, and then you got to go. Then you got to reference another movie and go. You were worried so much about whether or not you could that you didn't think about whether or not you should.
Yeah.
And now you've made this god level power that you can't control.
Yeah.
And if you
Just unleashed it on the world.
and if you've read the other books, like if you get into Dune Messiah, Paul's not the scary one.
Yeah.
His son is.
Yeah. His son's horrifying.
Like his son is scary power.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about somebody that, you know, they prop him up as this, and then it's interesting to watch. Jessica believes it, and so she deteriorates. Paul, who kind of is almost overeager but doesn't really understand temperance.
He's a bit hesitant.
Then we start seeing hesitation in him, and he's going like, actually, I like this lifestyle and I like these people, and it releases me from all of this burden of having to be
A duke.
A
And all
duke
this
in
stuff.
one of these
Yeah,
major
this
houses and
political
stuff.
power. I'm just
I
a
can just
fucking
hide
guy
in the
fighting.
desert.
to the point of, okay, now I know how to win this, and that's I need to rally these millions of people to fight for me. So now, fuck it. Since all of these idiots have gotten you to believe it, and I've told you over and over and over again,
I'm not him.
I'm not him.
You want me to be him?
But
Fine.
fine. If you're gonna
You all
if you're
right?
gonna hand me this weapon,
All right.
then
you did
I'll
this.
use it.
You did this.
and
Yeah,
and
it was
it's
like that
kind of
kinda
cool
thing.
to watch. You know, he was being trained and groomed by the Bene Gesserit, and then you watch this where he gets to the point of outscaling the Bene Gesserit at their own game,
Yeah.
and then it turned. And it's cool to watch that dichotomy of this is why you have to be careful about manipulation of power and stuff like that. Is that you don't know what you breed.
Yep.
And then if that person then, and you're sort of training that person to understand how you do it. So, because that's, well, he'll be one of us. And it's like,
won't.
Nope.
you have made an absolute monster.
It's kind of a little bit, not to get political now, but it's a little bit with the Republican Party and Donald Trump too. you know, where
Yeah,
it's just like they made this thing and there's like, oh, fuck.
This is the danger. This is the danger. And one of Herbert's major themes in that book, when you really dig into it, is this is the danger of political and religious fanaticism.
Yeah.
When you give up the ability to compromise, when you give up the ability to give people that space to be freely operating, and when you absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Regardless of what that is, political, religious, whatever. And that's one of Herbert's themes in there is like, this is what happens when you get to this level of power, and then this savior comes along who ends up with absolute power and ends up absolutely corrupt. Like the theme just keeps repeating that the solution to corrupt power ends up with somebody powerful enough to take down the corrupt power. But now they have that power and in itself becomes corrupt.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like two different things. Like one is like the there's a scene in The Simpsons. Yeah, follow me on this one, where they rally against like Walmart, and they like only shop at mom and pop shops, but then the mom and pop shops keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger,
and they make a new
Walmart,
yep.
And then they rally against that at the end and burn it down, and it's just like repeating itself over and over and over again, which is very similar to that. Yeah.
And it essentially like. And so there's a lot of big themes, simple themes, huge themes. Like one of those themes is literally like, it should be everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Like you don't end up with Reverend Mothers or Paul's ability to see into the future and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't coming from spice ingestion. That was coming from the water of life, which is directly from the worm.
Yeah.
So it's like super spice. And
Spice Plus.
Spice Plus. It's like
Spice 19.
It's like when you're paying for the 93 octane instead of the 87.
Yeah.
Like you gotta,
your car just goes,
yeah,
why?
what is this? And so you end up with that. But then that's when he became dangerous.
Yeah.
It wasn't before that, it was like, hey, he's a decent fighter, but he grew up being trained to fight. He grew up studying tactics.
Right. Yeah,
like,
he knew this stuff. Yeah, it makes sense that he was.
But the
really
fighters
good.
around him were also good. Like these guys were also trained and knew this tactic stuff. Then
yeah, it was a lot of old world versus new world, perfect
right.
blend.
And so it was
All
kind
right,
of that
we're
whole
doing good.
like, well, the spice will give you dreams. You'll kind of see stuff. We all do that. Like, da, da,
It
da,
is
da.
what it is.
But then he touches he goes beyond that moderation, and that's when it becomes dangerous. And so you see that kind of recurring theme of anytime this is allowed to get to a fanatic level, anytime it's allowed to get to an extreme level, that's where the danger is. It's not in, this. It's like, well, that's not healthy. And it's like, yeah, but it's not really hurting anything either. Like it is what it is. And
Turns your eyes blue. It's fine.
Yeah, right. You
yeah.
just have pretty peepers.
Alright.
But so it's kind of one of those. And there's also the themes of your assumptions of things. There's typically so much more depth to that. That's when you see like all the Fremen, and we have it's being 30,000 decaliters of what it's like. And there's thousands of these all over this planet. We are just waiting for the time where we can turn this planet green and replace its oceans. Like, and they're just storing that.
You're just waiting. Yeah.
But a lot of those themes are also, you have no idea what's going on past what you can see. And so all of those machinations that are going on with all these things. And so that's what I'm saying is all the themes from the book are in these films.
Yeah.
Yeah, they left out some scenes. They cut some stuff where like he doesn't meet the princess till the very end.
Right.
When he
the
he confronts
daughter
the
is
emperor and
his
says, "I'll
sister's
take it."
not born. Yet.
Before that he meets the princess at these other couple of meetings because they come to the change and they come to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't move the story. It doesn't matter that he met her or didn't know her. Or like that doesn't impact the end result.
What's the princess's name? Like the actress.
Aurelian?
No.
Oh, the
actual
actress.
actress.
What is her name? She's having a fucking year.
Dude, she's in everything.
Yeah.
She started in Midsummer, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
like her
Midsummer. I
first
haven't seen
thing?
that movie yet. I really want to.
Great. Midsummer is great.
I really want
But I
to.
think that was like her first.
That was her first
breakout.
thing, and then she was in Black Widow, and then she's in Oppenheimer, and then she's in Dune 2. And
But
then
I think she had like some little TV stuff and stuff before
But she's
Midsummer.
amazing.
But
She's
Midsummer was
great.
the breakout,
Yeah,
and then
just-
she does.
She's throwing fastballs everywhere. She's
the other Russian operative in Black Widow.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Yeah, she's
yeah.
just throwing fastballs. She's throwing IE.
She's fucking hot too.
She's a
smoke show.
She is easy on the peepers.
Yeah, she won the genetic lottery, that one.
Yeah,
That,
but also it's like
great actress though.
Great
Holy
actress, yeah.
shit.
But also I was like I watched Oppenheimer the other day, like not like a stereotypical like physique, like a figure of like a leading lady, like a little bit more of like a stronger kind of build to her.
She's athletically built.
Yeah, athletic,
And,
like just athletic. Like she was
but-
like, oh, you can definitely run a mile on throw
But
a javelin.
I like how they handled that in Dune as well, because almost everything they costume her in is almost reminiscent of like armor.
Yeah.
Like it's battle gear.
A lot
that
of
she's
battle
in the whole
gear.
thing.
Yeah, a lot
but
of
it
chainmail.
really lends itself to the idea of like, man, they are grooming her to be strength, not this graceful.
No, there's
like,
no grace about her.
Not this graceful court woman that's supposed to be
Exactly,
this
yeah.
soft side of it. They're like, nope. When your dad dies, it's you,
and she's
you
gonna,
are
she's gonna kick open the front
and
door.
you are gonna have
Yeah.
an iron fist available. Not saying you have to use it, but holy shit, are you gonna be equipped?
Yep,
Like,
exactly.
You got to figure out which one you want to make babies with.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
until she runs up against Paul,
Yeah.
and he's just like, you're mine now, and I'm gonna kill your dad. It's
Yeah.
like,
And she's
And
like,
nobody
could
can
you
do-
not kill my dad and I'll still marry you?
and,
And
he's
he's
like,
absolutely not.
no, absolutely,
Absolutely
Yeah, not.
Nope, gotta kill him.
Can
Sorry.
we talk about the amount of memes that came out of Dune 2, though?
Lisa Al Jadid.
Lisa
Yeah.
Al Gaib.
Yeah. So Stilgar is absolutely the ultimate hype man.
I would love to have a friend like Stilgar.
Oh my god, I want him. Just
I'm trying to be
hanging out
Jim
with me.
Stilgar.
You trying to
I'm
be
trying to be
Jim?
Jess Stilgar.
I'm trying to be Jim Stilgar.
Yeah, we're trying to do it. Just,
Everything in that was so funny. And I chuckled a couple times in the movie because he was just like,
It is written.
as it was written. And I'm like, oh my God.
Where
wanna
is all
do
this
that.
written?
Where is it written? I also
And a
want
tablet.
A single piece of paper.
And a tablet in the
if
South.
I'm hanging out at the at BattlePub and you like clean up a spill, but as it was written. Like, did you see how he cleaned up the spill? Counterclockwise.
Yeah, as it was written.
As it was written.
So fucking funny.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Stilgar's the ultimate hype man,
Great actor
and
too. It's
oh my
just-
god,
'cause
he's so good. Javier
everything-
Bardem.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
everybody in that film is just thrown 1,000. Even
Do you know what
even Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Yeah.
Timothée.
I really liked that. You know, they're A-listers. Let's
Yeah.
just they're A-listers, but it's this new batch of A-listers. Like it's this
Florence Pugh, Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Chalamet. Apparently, it's pronounced Timothée. That's running around.
That's a meme.
Nope. I saw an interview where he was like, technically, yes, it's Timothée. And he was like, the only thing I will not allow is that you call me Tim.
All right.
Timothy.
All right, Timmy boy.
Chalamet.
Yeah,
Timmy dude.
He's like,
Tim dog.
Timothée, Timothy. That's all fine. Just not Tim.
I'm actually really
He's
excited.
known as
Tim.
Tim.
Just
know
Tim.
him as Tim.
So I remember telling Jazz about Timothy Chalamet 5 years ago when he came out on a Netflix TV series with the Twilight kid, Robert Pattinson, and he was some king of England or something. And I was like,
Oh yeah, the Crown, or not the Crown, but the God, what was that?
it was like the medieval show.
Oh, it was good. No, it wasn't a show. It was a movie.
It was
What's a movie?
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
And I was telling Jazz about all the reviews about Timothy Chalamet, and I was like,
Shyamalan Ding
this
Dong.
kid's gonna be the next big thing,
Yeah.
And
and it's gonna be interesting to watch his career.
well, then he got Dune.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and then but I
and he
just-
nailed it. He's
Yeah.
he's great at the character.
I want to meet him and just call him like, "Hey, Timothy Shyamalama Ding Dong."
Hey,
Yeah.
Tim.
Hey, Timmy,
Hey, little
Tim
Tim.
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
but he's a
Just like
great
stare
actor.
At me and just be like,
Yeah, he's a great actor, and
big fan.
and then you've got Zendaya that Hollywood is just absolutely in love with right now. Like she just can do no wrong.
Yeah, she can do
is
nothing
their
wrong.
sweetheart right now.
and
it's gonna be a
'cause
hard
they
fall.
they hand her one huge franchise after.
Well,
Do you know what she
she's
reminds
the
me?
only Disney Channel show child that didn't turn to drugs and
Yeah.
alcohol.
Do you know what she
Yeah.
reminds me of?
Hmm.
When Orlando Bloom came on the scene. So Orlando Bloom had Lord of the Rings, and then like right after that got like Kingdom of Heaven, and then he got Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was just like
Yeah.
one massive fucking film after
Yeah.
another.
Yeah,
And she's kind of on that track where it's just like
but I think she has more talent than Mr. Bloom.
Bloom does not. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that they keep giving him these characters that can't have depth.
Yeah,
Like he can't work with, like Legolas can't have depth.
Yeah.
The character in in
He has
Pirates of the
depth perception,
Caribbean.
shooting those arrows.
True,
I'd
but
say
Pirates of the
Will
Caribbean
Turner
he-
had some depth at the
but
end.
you can't. The character can't because every
Yeah.
single one of those films is the same gag as the film before that. You just swap out a character, and so
Yeah.
he needs to be the whole like the forever underdog. It doesn't matter how much he proves himself. It's
Yeah.
always going to be he's the forever underdog.
Yeah, okay.
He's always going to play second fiddle to Jack.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be that. He's got to be that. Why did the hottie from the high end family go for the blacksmith? Like he's got to be that guy.
Yeah. I
And
got
so that character can't have depth because then it would outscale and not let the other gags play. And so, and you can't get it in Legolas. But then go watch Kingdom of Heaven,
Yeah.
So good.
and that goes, which he's also a blacksmith.
Loves
He
ironwork.
loves working metal.
Loves working.
But that
metal.
one does the whole like, I've got nothing, no training, no, and then I've got no confidence, no anything to.
Yeah.
I've saved everything and da-da-da. And so you get that depth. And at the end when they're back and they're like, we're going, and he's like, go that way until the men speak French and then keep going until they speak something else.
Yeah.
And then he follows it. Like you get all that confidence build and you get depth of character. He can do it.
Yeah.
Like it's just what he's so known for. He doesn't have the space to operate in.
Yeah.
And so I
And
do
then he
think
put
he's
that.
a good
and
actor.
then his latest movie is that dog shit one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. Zendaya's been stuck in the same thing. Because I'm not. Chani is still the character from Spider-Man. She's just got a she's just got a wetsuit on.
Yeah.
Same character. Same character.
I
Same
really
character.
like that. In through the
she
mouth,
has a-
out through the nose.
She's
In through
having
the mouth, out through the
she's
nose.
having a meteoric rise.
I'd
However,
say her
she's the
show
same
Euphoria
character.
is different though. That character is very different than when she plays in Hollywood.
Yes, the difference between her being a fuck bunny and her being the girlfriend of the hero
Yeah.
is two different things. But her character in Dune is still her. She is the supportive, independent woman that is strong enough to be with the main hero character. It's the
Right,
same
yeah.
character.
Okay.
And you see it in the line delivery. You see it in the body posturing. Like you see all that kind of stuff. But Hollywood loves her right now. And so she's going to have this meteoric rise. She's going to make a fuck ton of money. And if she invests it properly, she could just quit and she'll be fine for the rest of her life.
We won't,
But I don't think she's that great.
she's not going to be around long term.
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
Once she loses this strong child look that she's got right now, which is what she has. She has that confident youth. When she ages out of that,
She's not going to have anything.
what are you going to do with her? She doesn't have the chops. You don't see it. There's no her line delivery and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of she can do a really good job of giving you a snarky look.
Okay.
And that's about all I've actually seen from her that's an emotional response. Everything else is actually pretty robotic and formulaic. And I don't think it's on the directors. I don't think she's capable.
You think so? Okay.
But that is Disney training. Disney training, they go in, they give your character like 3 things that you can do. Look at her Disney characters. If you look back at what she was on the Disney Channel, she's that independent, strong youth that's
Yeah,
really good at giving you a snarky look. And now she's got that as an adult.
One-liner quips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can just do that quip and then she can give you that look and she doesn't really care that you're Lisan Al-Gaib or Spider-Man because to her, you're just Paul and Peter.
Okay.
You're just
Well, anyway, great movie.
Yeah,
Check
go
it out.
see it.
Go see it.
Absolutely.
If anybody if somebody from the 41st millennium were watching that movie and said it was good, it would be Russ.
And he'd be right.
He'd be right.
I think he would watch Dune because he's tired of the cold. It'd just be like,
Yeah, he'd be like, it's so it is so fucking cold
You'd be
here.
like, that looks so warm. I
So
want to go
so-
there.
I want to feel sand.
yeah.
I want to lay down.
First time he sees somebody ride a worm, he's like, I could do that.
I could do that.
I'm a sugar cookie.
You'll be covered in fur and be like, sand's the worst. Sand's the worst.
It's the worst.
Sand is not made for fur.
Anyways, games, drinks, and hijinks.
Yeah.
That's what we encourage around here.
Go to BattlePub Games, spend a lot of money, drink a lot of beer.
Yeah, battlepub.com if you want to get some swag for the store.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out. We're going to be doing a big YouTube update and probably here in the pretty near future, like next couple weeks, we'll
Yeah.
probably drop some videos with the the players and their armies for this crusade. That'll probably be the big teaser.
Can we do it like Stinger kind of thing? Like,
Like West
I was thinking
Coast,
like a
East
UFC
Coast
fight.
football.
oh my God, yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, like a UFC fight.
I was hoping like West Coast, East Coast football, college championships.
Oh, can we name our characters and just be like like with the Key and
it's just
Peele
gonna be like
with the Key and Peele
Jim.
East West Coast
Second Pitch Beer Company, Space Wolves.
Space Wolves University on that guy.
yeah. Hokage, the hidden leaf in the village.
this right here is George,
Yeah.
and this guy is Herman, and they have bolters.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
So
But
yeah,
I'm in.
but I think we're gonna do that so everybody can get an idea of
Yeah, we're gonna.
who
have
the
a-
contestants are in this whole thing.
we
and
also
then,
need to figure out if we can go on to FanDuels, if people can like vote, can gamble on our games. Let's see if we can get this thing going on the.
Well, it's a crusade, not a tournament.
But yeah, but like they're like, oh my God, it's it's Gene Cedar Colts versus Space Wolves. Who's gonna win? I want to see some action. Let's get some money on this.
yeah,
Let's get some.
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Let's make this.
Maybe.
Little survey.
Maybe we could do a little we could do an OnlyFans.
I'm in.
Ooh.
We get an OnlyFans for
I will-
behind the scenes interviews on the fighters.
Hold my thing. I'm gonna throw my shirt off.
That'll be like it'll be like
Me
behind the
hanging out
scenes.
just naked, just being really like, put your shirt back on. We
Yeah.
don't want that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people might want it.
So we could do OnlyFans and you could watch the game live
I like that.
instead of having to watch for the recording.
I like that.
Yeah.